Good morning. Welcome to the East Brandywine Township Board of Supervisors AM meeting this Thursday, February 6th, 2025 at 9 a.m. I want to remind everybody a recording device will be in use during this meeting. We're going to open the meeting with a pledge of allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Public comment for agenda items. Rules for conduct of public meetings established by Resolution 2001-08 are basically as follows. The time allocated to each individual making a comment shall be 3 minutes unless otherwise set by presiding officer. Additional public comment may be granted at the discretion of the presiding officer at the conclusion of the meeting. Do we have any public comments? Seeing none. In front of us, I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes of January 16th, 2025.
I'll second.
Discussion. All those in favor say aye.
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 Thank you. Next is the treasurer's report, authorization to pay bills and approve payroll. I have reviewed the bills.
I'll make a motion to approve treasurer's report.
I'll second.
Authorized to pay, well,
Yes. Okay.
authorization
Include
to
the
pay the
bills
bills
and the payroll.
and payroll.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Old business, purchase of tot lot for Phase 1 Community Park on CoStar's contract 014-E23-313. Mr. Brevin.
Morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. In your packet this morning is a CoStar's quote for the purchase of some playground equipment to be placed in Phase 1 of our community park. By way of background, when we built the bathroom in Community Park last year, prior to that work, we removed a set of playground equipment that was quite old. And in the budget process this last fall, Parks and Recreation proposed purchasing a replacement set of playground equipment. That was approved with the 2025 annual budget. Dollar amount of the contract in front of you is $18,200. That is below bidding thresholds, but since it's a CoStar's contract, that doesn't matter. What's important shown on a proposal from CoStar's is the state contract number. So for the purposes of the minutes, I'd like to include that this price is per state contract 014-E23-313. At this time, I would respectfully ask the Board of Supervisors to authorize me to make this purchase.
Any questions? I'll make a motion to accept the quote for the purchase of the tot lot, Phase 1 for the community park.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you.
Next item is the revised multi-municipal EMS cost-sharing agreement. Mr. Revit.
Yeah, that's me again. At your meeting on December 19th of last year, I had placed on the agenda a draft multi-municipal cost-sharing agreement. This is between the municipalities that make up the area served for both advanced life support and basic life support by Minquist. At that time, the board authorized me to enter into the contract. It's back on your agenda this morning because One, I put that on the agenda for the board's consideration prior to the completion of discussion amongst the municipalities on a standard format of the agreement. And because one of the changes to that agreement includes a quote for engaging a consultant to assist the communities in coming up with a permanent solution for oversight of EMS service provision. The net difference between and by way of a fiscal note, the difference between what the board approved on December 19th and what's in your packet this morning is $641. More expensive than the last time that we had this on the agenda. So at this time, I'd respectfully ask the board's permission to execute the multi-municipal EMS cost-sharing agreement to replace the one signed on December 19th.
And just to clarify, that additional cost was our share of the consultant fee.
Correct. The consultant will be paid at the cost of the consultant will be split in the same way that overall costs for funding the ambulance service are split. That is to say, relative to our proportion of all calls for service.
Right, and that $600 is not our proportional share, that's our extra share after the credit, actual ambulance.
Right.
In round numbers, we get like a $3,000 credit, then we owe 600, whatever it is, it's $600 more. Any further discussion on that? I'll make a motion that we accept the revised multi-municipal EMS cost-sharing agreement.
I'll second.
Discussion too early. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, new business. We have a recommendation of Mark Pavak to the Budget Committee. Mr. Revin again.
Yeah, so the next two agenda items have to do with filling vacancies on the township's boards and committees. There is a very important difference between the two. The second agenda item, or the next agenda item from this pertains to a vacancy in an elected office. The one before you right now is a vacancy on an ad hoc committee. And I say ad hoc committee because the terms and number of individuals serving on the budget committee is not specified in the township code. So there is not a fully staffed version of the budget committee. However, we do have an interested party, as you indicated. Included in your packet is the application and resume of that individual. And I will say that the budget committee has met with this person and is recommending that the Board of Supervisors appoint them to the budget committee.
I'll make a motion to appoint Mark Pavak to the Budget Committee.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Next is recommendation of the applicant to the Board of Auditors.
As I previously alluded to, the Board of Auditors is a group of 3 elected officials from whom we've accepted the resignation of a member at our last meeting. And I might rely on our solicitor here correct me if I'm wrong. The board now has 3 days to appoint, 30 days to appoint someone to fill that vacancy. That person will serve until the next municipal election, at which point whoever wins the election will serve on the Board of Auditors.
That person who's elected will fill, not necessarily, depends on how much is left in the current term. But that's not of any moment for this morning's meeting.
Right, so the person who resigned was in the first 2 years of their 6-year term.
What's the 6 years?
Correct. So the person appointed will serve until January of next year, at which point whoever appears on the ballot will serve. But there will be two positions on the ballot, a 6-year Board of Auditor and a 4-year Board of Auditor.
All right, I'll make a motion. Says recommendation.
At the last meeting, the board also asked staff to market the position, and I'm pleased to report that we received applications from 3 individuals, and I appreciate everyone's interest. Yes, this would be you could appoint by motion, not by resolution, so it would just be a motion to appoint someone to fill the vacancy.
Okay, I'll make and all gotten the resumes for the applications for the 3 residents. Applied, and my preference, that and then we can discuss. Michael Dawson. I'll make a motion to appoint Michael Dawson to the unexpired term of the East Brandywine Township Board of Auditors.
I'll second.
No discussion?
Just comment that he had performed these duties from 1975 to 1993 previously, so he had almost 20 years' experience.
Right, as well as being a long time. Honorary most of it.
Yeah.
For the most part. All right, any further discussion? All those in favor? say
Aye.
Thank you. Staff will send thank you notes to all those applied. Appreciate the spirit of volunteerism in the community.
All right, purchase of a Hustler mower and power boom for Ventrac. Is that thing we bought 2 years ago?
Yes, the Ventrac is, yes. Foreman Derek Kloss will be making the presentation.
Thank you.
Good morning. So the Public Works Department is seeking approval to purchase a new zero-turn mower. The mower we intend to replace is a 2012 Exmark 60-inch, has approximately 3,000 hours. We believe this equipment is nearing the end of its operational life and would like to replace it before we incur more repair costs. The proposed replacement is a Hustler 60-inch Super Z, available at a CoStar's price of $14,333. The contract number for that is 44000-28326. Additionally, we request through approval to purchase a power broom attachment for the Ventrac machine. This attachment would enhance the Ventrac's utility year-round, facilitating snow removal at pump stations, treatment facilities, the township complex during the winter, as well as debris clearing from roadsides, intersections, park amenities, and township facilities throughout the rest of the year. The cost of the power broom attachment is $6,785, also through a CoStar's contract, and the number for that is 44000-28344. The total cost for both pieces of equipment is $21,118, and the amount set aside in the budget was for $20,000. Additionally, we do expect to sell the old Exmark mower for a minimum of $1,500, but it could be more than that as well through the municipal. That's all I have.
I'm a little confused, that I have the paperwork here, but the first page has numbers on it that are different than what you just mentioned.
Well, the mower is 14,333, correct?
Correct.
Okay,
So the only other add would be the broom attachment for the Ventrac, which is 6785. I think that's over here
okay,
on this next page here.
that's what I didn't see.
So these are your attachments to go onto that piece of
Oh, that's
equipment.
not
Here you
enough.
go, so here's that broom. And that would be a very useful piece of equipment,
Correct. Oh, here it is. I got
as
it.
described in his
But
presentation.
where's the $6,000?
It's on the last page of this, with the pictures.
I got it now,
on the
okay.
very last page.
So these other two quotes down here are irrelevant.
Different horsepower.
Also, the cost of the power broom's a little higher because we have to add 2 attachments for the front to make it operational. But that's like a one-time thing, so it would allow us to, in the future, possibly get other attachments for the front of the unit.
I just want to make sure, I know what I was voting on.
As mentioned, that would make this equipment, the vent track, much more useful.
Correct.
Be utilized more often in the township.
Yeah, it'd be kind of year-round operation.
If I may add, when we purchased the Ventrac, the motivating for, why we purchased the Ventrac was 2 things. It does steep slopes far better,
Right.
and it also has lower ground pressure and therefore can be used on disposal fields.
No, I remember that.
Yeah, no, I got a nice colorful letter when I approved that purchase. One of the first meetings I ever had.
I must say that Ventrac has really increased safety on mowing steep slopes, and a lot of stress on the guys using
Ready
trimmers.
to bail out on a
Yeah.
steep slope.
Yeah.
All right. Kyle, you have any questions?
I do not. The only thing I couldn't hear was what brand mower. Was it another Exmark?
Hustler,
The Hustler.
not an Exmark.
Hustler. Okay. I just couldn't hear what brand it was.
All right, I'll make a motion to purchase of the Hustler mower and power boom for the track.
I'll bet.
Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
All right, and the East Brandywine Baptist Church food truck event.
Mr. Chairman, Ms. Doan is not in the audience to make a presentation. They appear on the agenda because board approval is necessary for a whole park event, including fireworks. This is similar to prior events, the Brandywine Food Truck Festival. I will say that Ms. Doan and the Baptist Church made a presentation to Parks and Recreation on Monday. I suspect that her absence this morning is due to the inclement weather, so I suggest that we try this another day.
Can't approve it now? I assume you've reviewed the application,
Similar to what was done in the past, right?
and it's similar to what we've done, yeah, right.
Right. Well, it feels a little unfair to provide some feedback on what was discussed in their absence, but I'm happy to talk about what we talked about on Monday. But they're not here to respond to anything if I make a misrepresentation, but I can proceed if you would like.
Yes, I see no reason not to belong on the agenda, do you, Francis?
I don't see a problem with it. We understand what this
Right.
is and it's
My main question,
important function.
and I would like to hear from you, has it been reviewed and approved by the Department of Rec?
Yes, but there were a discussion on the number of items I'd like to share with the board.
That's
We'll start with the scope of the project. The event has been held successfully for a number of years in the community park, but it is right at the maximum threshold of the ability of the park to host the event. Parks and Rec has shared that any further growth in the park, let's say more vendors or more events, could not be supported by the facilities there. So the proposal before you is within the same footprint as last year's event. We discussed the type of feedback that staff receives about concerns about the event. Most are related to the fireworks aspect of the event, and they take generally 2 forms. One is that residents report that their pets are spooked by the fireworks, and also the other concern we hear is that because the fireworks are late at night, control of traffic at the release point is problematic. We've also provided staff feedback from the roadmaster relative to cleanup, the way the event has been handled in the past. They've done an adequate job in recovering the facilities at the conclusion of the event. I also have heard feedback from public safety as it relates to providing support for the event. So with those concerns shared with them, the end result of the conversation with Parks and Recreation on Monday is that they do recommend that the Board of Supervisors give approval for the East Brandywine Food Truck Festival in 2025.
Everything that you express is relatively normal concerns that come about for an event like this, and they generally are handled well, as history has shown.
Right, and we also share, just for absolute clarity, if there is any kind of red flag warning relative to fire risk, there will not be fireworks.
Yeah, makes sense.
We don't want another LA.
No one does. Our beachfront property. Okay. Kyle, you have any questions?
I do not.
Make a motion to Park?
I'll make a motion.
You might want to make that subject to complying with representations that they make.
I'll make a recommendation for the East Brandywine Baptist Church food truck event at Brandywine Township Park as represented in their presentation document.
Is that okay, Tom?
Yes, that's fine.
I'll second. Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Subdivision and zoning applications, I don't see any. Want to make a subdivision? Ordinances and resolutions for consideration? None. Public comment on non-agenda items? Okay. I thought you were just joining us to,
Because I like you.
yeah.
It's that time of the year, Tom, what's the date they got?
I'm so sorry to interrupt you, Dennis. Can I have you stand at the microphone over there for the audio pickup? You could sit also if you.
I didn't want audio pickup.
Oh, okay.
Don't you get the message? Tom, what's the date if they're going to change the tax collector's salary?
You're going to change the compensation of the tax collector. It has to be done by a certain date.
February 15th?
And I think it's sometime in
It's soon.
February. Right.
Good. All I'll say is I've been here 12 years, the salary's been the same. The salary's been the same for over 32 plus years. Go back 32 years, I have tripled the number of parcels and the number and the amount of money. So it's not even, I don't know why I'm sitting here, but I'm just telling you. Now, I know there's talk it could go outside. We've already been with Berkheimer for 3 years. We lost out on over 400 refuse and recycling fees that were never collected, and there was no history ever to go after it. And when you go outside, that's what happens. Go with the county, they care about taxes, and they'll file with tax claims. I filed 6 people this year, 3 of them were trailers, so, which only amount to $8, $9. So it was pretty nominal. My suggestion would be it should always stay in-house, whether I win the election or not. And so, somebody should be looking at whoever the tax collector is and just be sure that they're doing the job they're doing. But 32 years plus, I don't think anyone on this board has gone 32 years without some kind of increase. That's all I have to say. Any questions?
Well taken. Thank you.
Discuss it. Correct.
The reason for that deadline is that it's
Election time.
correct, so the person who runs knows what the counts. Persons.
Any other public comment? Notices, there was an executive session held on January 28th to discuss personnel matters. Is there a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second. All those in favor?
Aye.